this. It was funny because I was talking to Wes and I said, I'm having a midsummer goddess gathering, and he's like, what? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm having a summer solstice barbecue. And he was like, that's fine. Yeah.
Let me break it down for you.
Right. Well, we ended up kind of inviting different people than I had originally planned, so it's going to be more of a barbecue. But I made actually I should have grabbed a bottle of that to show y'all. I made some tepache. I don't remember if I've talked about it on the show before, but it's fermented pineapple water. So yeah, you just take the rinds and core of a pineapple, put it in a jar, and then I added cinnamon sticks, cloves, and allspice, but traditionally you just add like sugar water, and it's the natural yeast on the outside of the pineapple eats the sugar and then creates probiotics. So it tastes like pineapple soda. Like, it's not nearly as punchy to me as kombucha, but it has a lot of the same benefits, and it's like the color of the sun. So I'm like, perfect for summer solstice. We have like the gold drink. So yeah, and this morning I strained it and then bottled it, and so it'll get more fizzy, leaving it on the counter for the next day and a half, and then I'll throw it in the fridge. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this for me holding it up, but here's what the brew was looking like the other day.
Oh, okay. I see all the chunks, the pineapple chunks.
Yeah. So it's really cool because if you like pineapple, which we do, it's just using the scraps. Like, you just cut it with a little bit extra flesh left on the rind, and then it makes a really amazing drink. I've only done it one other time, and I was really impressed. So I'm excited to add that to our menu on Wednesday.
Ooh, I love that. We could just say that's basically your mocktail for today, unless you had something else.
I brought
more. Okay.
It's a sparkling seltzer, I think cherry limeade flavor, but still like no sugar. It's just a flavored seltzer. And then I added Energize to it. So a little pep in my step this afternoon.
Love that. A little pick me up.
Yes.
I made mine on the fly. It's you can't see it, like it's pink. Mine is also cherry lime flavor. It's our Mind Health, so I feel like I needed a little bit of a brain boost. It's got like B vitamins and CoQ10, which is like good for your neurons and also getting your mitochondria up and running. So that's good for energy.
Well, I told you before, I love that one. I think that it tastes like a mocktail on its own, no changes.
Yeah.
That could get you off of alcohol if you were having a hard time. I swear by it.
Swear by the Mind Health.
Yes, so good.
Yeah, so if you need any of that, you know where to find it with us. Yeah. Trish, are you drinking anything? I know she's shopping.
No, but I was drinking water.
Awesome.
Always water.
We're always here for the classic hydration, for sure. The OG.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's get started for our healthy happy hour. By the way, I just got to shout out Joelle. Like, I saw our notes. We've been doing this since January.
Yes.
6 months.
Yes.
Healthy happy hour. This is kind of insane. So thank you guys for all tuning in, catching the replays, sharing the love, and asking us questions and just showing up and putting your time and energy here, because I know we all have super busy schedules. So thank you. I just want to say that. And again, I am Raina-Rooney. I'm a holistic health coach. I love working with burned out professionals, 9-to-5ers, people who are struggling to have that work-life balance and find time to do healthy habits, whatever that looks like for you. It could be exercise, sleep, nutrition, self-care, all of that type of stuff. I'll help you build a plan and, put something together so we can get you moving forward on that. And yeah, I've been doing health coaching for almost 5 years now, and I love it. I love helping people figure out ways to get healthy and build up their health esteem, as we like to say. And then my awesome co-host here, Joelle.
Hi. Yes, Raina and I actually met in the fitness world some almost 10 years ago. I was her boot camp instructor at my very first personal training position. So I've been doing that since about 2015, and it's always been my passion to make wellness easy. Wellness is for everyone. There is not a one size fits all, and it doesn't mean that it has to be complicated either. So we're really excited to continue to be able to bring that approach to you and give you guys specific nuggets, things that you're looking for, things that you need in your life. So, and yes, we're so appreciate 6 months in, and everybody's been amazing at giving us all of their ideas and their own being really just vulnerable with their own struggles to give us things to help with. So very grateful.
Yes. Yes. And our whole mission and intention with these healthy happy hours is to, of course, cater to what you're seeking, your problems or struggles or questions that you have regarding your overall health and well-being. And also just giving the time and space for making healthy living doable and accessible. So we have 3 different segments that we get into: nutrition, movement, and mindfulness. And we'll usually do little demos or exercises in each of those categories while sharing tips as well. So that is what we're doing. That's Healthy Happy Hour in a nutshell. And then our specific focus topic for today is healthful travel. How can we travel and maintain our healthy routines while we're on the go? It's like middle of summer, everyone's going on trips, there's like barbecues happening. How do we like keep up with our health and our goals and without sacrificing like having fun or like socializing? What does that look like? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to jump in, Joelle, like nutrition?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just some things that, I mean, funny enough, all of us on the call right now are traveling this week, and we're going to be getting on airplanes. So this is really relevant to us and hopefully to you too. So, and it's also really prevalent on my mind because I've already started packing, which is completely unusual for me. And it's because of the things that we're going to share with you today about just, I mean, that's kind of more mindfulness for me, but having a little bit, not letting myself rush too much is been really helpful for me so far this week. So I'll just share a few things that I love for keeping my nutrition on track while we travel. This is much larger than it needs to be, but they screw together. So it came with 2 separate ones, 2 separate tops, and I had them screwed together like this. They very, very easily hold a scoop of Shakeology, which is my favorite superfood protein mix. And then I'll even add sometimes like powdered peanut butter or something to like give it a little extra credit while I'm traveling, because usually I'm not making smoothies as often with like frozen fruit and stuff. I personally am going to be hotel living this week with just 1 Airbnb day at the end. So I'm trying to make sure that I have everything that I need without the maybe accessibility to a large fridge or something like that, where I want the frozen fruit. I do. And I still might go get it, but this is going to be really helpful for me in the meantime. I also love just that little bits of planning ahead. We know that sticking to our routine on some level is going to make the adjustment one way and the other so simple. And for me, that's the big one. I drink a shake every single day. It usually does replace a meal because I add enough things to it so that it is a meal replacement. And just to take that off my plate of I don't have to find 3 or 4 meals a day while I'm also in conference and everything else, is going to make, I know already I have less anxiety over the whole thing, right? Also, of course, being hydrated. We know that hydration is key with just living, being human, but it's an easy one to let go of when our habits aren't exactly the same. You know, we strive to wake up on time or a similar time that we usually do, go to bed similar time if we can. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions, but giving your body that baseline, that assurance really of no matter what, you're going to be hydrated. You would be shocked at what your body does in response to that security. So yeah, getting ahead of that. If you just plan ahead, obviously nobody wants to pee on a long flight, but like I'd rather that than be dehydrating at way elevation on airplane height level, than and not have to worry about being just like that much more jet lagged on the other side of my trip. Planning ahead is another one, obviously, that's going to be great for your nutrition while you're traveling. This is something that I feel like is not my natural state. I am very much a go with the flow girl. I have this magnet on my fridge that I had to bring and share with you guys today. It says cottywomple. It's a verb, and it says to travel in a purposeful manner toward a vague destination. And yeah, this has been like on my fridge for, I think, maybe 2 years now. And I was attracted to it because that isn't very much me to be purposeful with my travel. I'm like, well, we're just gonna go. We're gonna see what happens. I do think that I just identify as a more spontaneous person, but I have found that there's certain things in that in my own nature that way that aren't serving the way that I need to be. I need to take care of myself. So looking ahead, I'm going to San Antonio. I've never been there before this week, and we are going as a large group for a conference. So we had to make reservations at a couple restaurants for 2 of the nights that we're there. And it got me like, it just set me off on this, I'm going to plan ahead more path. And I'm already just, the excitement is drawn out. I like to relate this to if you're going to, you want something sweet really bad. So the 2 options are you just go to the store, grab something, eat it, right? How fast was that enjoyment? Like that was not a very long span of time that you really enjoyed it. Whereas if I said, oh, I really want some pie, I'm going to go bake a pie. Is that always the most convenient? No, but it's the analogy. We're sticking with it. So you go to bake the pie, and now there was so much drawn out joy in that experience that when the only goal was to eat some pie. The goal wasn't really to make it, but now while I'm making it, I'm immersed and more present with the whole experience. And so similarly, I am finding, okay, I don't need an itinerary. They already have enough stuff planned for me that I don't want to like say, and at this time I'm going to do this, and at this time, no, that's fine. I'll be like go with the flow when I can. But I've already looked at like different places that I want to see in the time that I do have afterwards. Just really like immersing myself in this new place before having got there. I feel like I've extended the joy. Like I'm already partially on vacation, right? Because I've chosen to experience it early and now. And that goes, it benefits so much, right? It benefits all 3 categories today: nutrition, mindfulness, and movement, that I'm thinking ahead. And that way, like things are going to be more predictable in the ways that benefit me and benefit my highest self, right? What else? Do you want to take some more? You want to go for some nutrition, Raina? You tell me something.
Sure, I got you. I love what you're saying though. And I've seen there's been research out there as far as planning ahead that doing the planning preparation process, it gives you that hit of dopamine and like boost your happiness levels for sure.
Yes.
So that could almost be an incentive to plan a little bit for your trip because you're kind of visualizing, you're putting yourself there and
Yes.
and yeah, building that energy of like, oh, I'm so excited. I can say too, when you were talking about making the pie, I literally had a family barbecue yesterday and I got up and made a strawberry rhubarb crisp and I was like like I just had the best time. You know, I put on some music, I like had the recipe, I just like flowed and I was like really enjoying like the whole cooking process. And then when we had the crisp last night, I was like anticipating, I was telling everyone about it. Like I was just like, are you guys ready to try this?
I'm so ready for this crisp.
Yeah, like so I think just I felt like as soon as you said that, I was like, I think I extended the joy on that for sure.
Right.
So
well, you don't need, you wanted what, 1 piece of crisp was probably enough. Whereas if I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna buy a 12-pack of donuts, there's no right next thing you know, I've eaten 6 of them and I'm like, now I just feel like but and that's it. That's the end of the joy. Like it was just, so if we extend it out like that, it kind of just prolongs that inevitable satisfaction and makes it spread. I love that. Love it. I love that you just had that experience. That's perfect.
Absolutely. And then everyone else too of like complimenting it, enjoying it. You're like, oh, this is really nice to be enjoying it with other people too. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So planning ahead, packing healthy snacks. Like I think, man, you guys, like we got to think about when you're going in the airport, like you're all discombobulated. Maybe you're traveling for hours. There's so much like stimulation there of just like buy this, buy this, buy this. And the prices are like 3 times as expensive
minimum,
as
at minimum.
As they are at the gas station outside of the airport, right? So just like being mindful of that too, and that can almost feel good. Like again, that preparation process of whether you cut up some veggies and hummus kind of thing, or like pack a little bag of popcorn or nuts, or even like we've talked about the protein balls before. I love having those traveling. Those are great. So yeah, and just like bringing all your like little snacks, like, and most security, especially traveling in the US, like they're not going to care about food. It's fine. You can easily bring it through. And I will say too, another thing. So Joelle, you have your thing with like that you yeah. So like what do you put in there? Like you put protein powder, you put peanut butter,
peanut butter. Yeah, that's usually it. Like if I had an additive, Body has like a mental focus ad that has little caffeine and adaptogens in it. So like that, or even some collagen ad, like whatever. It seems to be like for me ample size because our Shakeology scoop is quite large.
Yeah.
It holds that and a few tablespoons more. So yeah, the first time I bought them was I think when we went to Mexico. And I fell in love because you can be like, oh, I'm only going on a 3-day trip too, or a 4-day trip. Boom. Like I don't have to take the whole thing. It doesn't have any, you know what I mean? Because you want to think about space too. I don't know about you guys, but I'm trying to not have a check bag for
yes.
So I'm like, okay, but I also don't want to be, missing things that I know would have helped if I had a little more space. That I love that you said that about snacks. I don't know why, but for me, until recent years, not being allowed to have water through security, I just was like, we can't take snacks. Like, they're so strict on that you don't even realize that it's like just because of the liquid. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna take some things that maybe even with a little freezer pack because I only have a 2-hour flight on the way there, and then on the way back, I don't need to take anything. So that's helpful. And there's so many shelf stable things we can take too that we forget about. Yeah.
Totally. Like I'm thinking about like taking some cherries, you can take a banana, take some apples, like just, stuff that like travels well. Also, I know you said you don't bring a blender and I wish I had mine. I left it at my other place. But I have a travel blender. And, and it's called the Blend Jet and it is freaking amazing. I love that thing. So I can put my protein powder in there. I can put greens, avocado, like banana, all up in there and just blend it. And I'm planning for our conference that we have going on this week. Like I'm planning on having that in the morning. And when I get to my destination, like I'll just go to the grocery store, pick up like some almond milk kind of thing. Yeah. So I love having that. That's been really, really helpful. And like you said, you can make that a full meal replacement.
Yes.
Also along the same lines of staying hydrated, if you're going outside of the US, and even US, I mean, because some places, let me tell you, like Arizona water tastes disgusting at the airport. But so like bringing a Life Straw water bottle, something that has like a filtration system in it. I have a little portable water filter that I bring, and that was something I used a lot when I was in Thailand because I was. Oh, can you still hear me? I'm frozen. No. There you go. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, so that was something I brought over there because I was really, really conscious and mindful of the plastic water bottle consumption. Same thing in Mexico. Everyone tells you, I mean, you can really safely only drink, water out of plastic bottles down there. But if you bring a water filter, it does help you cut down on that, where you feel safe and comfortable doing that. So yeah, like to recommend the Life Straw filter water bottle. And then of course, when you're on the plane, if you can, stick away from alcohol because just flying at that altitude already dehydrates you. And then coffee and alcohol bump it up a whole nother level. And so if you're not wanting to feel parched and just like kind of gross and groggy at the end of your flight, maybe not have those. Save them for like when you're at like regular altitude level.
Yes.
Yeah. And then just I think that's really all we had for nutrition. Oh, other than I would say again with planning ahead, like look at restaurant menus ahead of time and kind of pick and choose, like already get your mind around like what kind of options they have. Could you have like a soup and salad first kind of thing? Can you order like, sauteed roasted veggies on the side? Enjoy all your meals, have the desserts and stuff, but we've talked about this before, like your food order matters. So if you're planning on having dessert, make sure you start with a salad and like have some protein and fat in there and then like go ham with the dessert. It's just gonna like, metabolically help you a lot with having those other things as a buffer before enjoying your treat.
And I think like the way that you approach this, how you feel about it, the mindset of your nutrition, we're melding here, but is so important because if you're like, oh, I know that my family, I'm going to meet family. I know they're going to want to go to this place. And I know that I'm not going to be able to eat is very healthy. So I'm going to have to pick the salad that I don't like. If you instead are like, okay, let's look at this menu online and find a couple ways that I can mix and match. And then that way, even if there's just a couple options, even just a couple, when you get there, you get to decide. And then it takes a lot of that temptation out of the game, right? And not to say that you shouldn't enjoy, but like there has to be balance for us to feel our best. And like myself, knowing that we're going out to eat 3 or 4 nights in a row, I'm sure I'll be able to make decent decisions. I'm sure there'll also be some temptation to make a little bit less than perfect decisions. So I'm going to set myself up to have the best daytime meals when I make friends. And then I know that I'm going to be feeling a lot less, like famished or that where that discipline goes out the window because you're like, whatever, I haven't eaten all day. I'm just going to go. I would actually, side note, I bought a gasket for the single blender that I have. It's a Ninja, but I was like, I'm going to take that whole thing. But I've just was reading up on all of our events, and they're going to have a Shakeology bar every day. So there's like 4 smoothies that are available every day with things added and at a rate that I was surprised, like a not so expensive rate. So I'm going to be like, okay, so now I have a shake that I can make with just water or just oat milk. Something, and then I can have one of those too and know that the rest of my decisions kind of have a little bit more wiggle room. Yet also some things that since I am going to be staying in a hotel with 3 other women in like a 2 double bed, so that's why I know there's going to be a mini fridge, but I also don't want to plan on taking up all that real estate depending on what goes down. So I was thinking, okay, I was researching what kind of things can I take that are going to be the easiest and simplest to throw in my bag. The tuna pouches. There's chicken pouches too. So easy. They take nothing for preparation, right? Oatmeal. I've got some vegetable chips that have beans in them too. So they actually have a lot of fiber and protein, but they're chips. So I'm going to take like single portions of those. I'll just pack them up. Nuts, of course, are always great to have. So if you feel like, okay, this is all great, but like, I don't know how close the grocery store is going to be, or I don't think that I can get away with taking a bunch of fresh fruit with me because of packing or whatever, there's other options. Like, don't feel like the only option is for every option to go out the window, right? Like you have a lot of choice, and it just takes that little bit of preparation to be excited about that choice.
I love that you mentioned that. I worked with a client who, I mean, this is not exactly travel, but like he had family dinners every Sunday kind of thing. And they were usually at restaurants that he was like, it's like tough to eat here, whatever. But his preparation for that day, like knowing he had the family dinner at night, he would like have his healthy shake in the morning. He would get his workout in, and then, you know, he would feel really good about enjoying his dinner. Yes. And maybe that's the other thing too, is portion sizing as well. Like we talked about our hands, these are like easy travel portion things, right? So if you are indulging in things that, like, you know, maybe you don't want to eat a ton of, you can always use your hand as a reference. So I'll just run through it real quick. Just the palm of your hand is great for like protein sources. Cupping your hand, so like this whole thing, that's like a carb serving. Your whole fist is veggies and greens, and then your thumb is like a great amount of fat, your 1 serving of fat. So like whether that's some nut butter or like some avocado, that type of thing. Yeah. So these are like your portable portion size. And so just wanted to mention that as well. Oh my gosh, is my phone ringing?
I don't hear it, but it could be.
Okay, good.
I have 2 other women that I love. One, I know I've talked about the book, French Women Don't Get Fat.
Yes.
Love that book. So she is the CEO of a really popular champagne company. So she says she eats out at least 300 times a year.
Wow.
And in Europe, especially like France, or at least her experience, what she shares with us in the book, is they would never pay for a gym. Like that's too much. They would just walk more there, stuff like that. So so for her, especially, I think she's probably 70s now, to be able to eat out that often and to not have adverse side effects of weight gain and fat gain and lethargy and all the things, she says like some of her tips are like, don't touch the bread. Don't eat the bread. Eat your regular meals all day, even though you know that you're going to have the opportunity for a big meal tonight. I know as American women, we're like, he's taking me out to a fancy dinner tomorrow. I ain't eating all day. I'm saving up. Oh, don't save up. That never works. But also drinking, or her other thing is she'll order her meal and ask them to only bring out half of it.
Yes.
You don't even have to touch the box. You don't even have to choose if you ask them. And I mean, like, that's a little bit finicky. I'm a server, so I would be like, really? But we can all take care of that, right? And then another woman, actually, she's the registered dietitian for Body. I'm so excited. I actually get to go to one of her lunch and learns this week. Her thing is water first, veggies most. That's one of the big things that she says. So before you eat, and not right before you eat, because it never makes you feel amazing, but before a meal, you should drink a pint of water. A pint. That kind of, for me, is like, it's almost like takes the rose-colored glasses off. Right? If you're dehydrated, you're like, oh, I can eat all of this because I'm hungry. I feel it. But really, you're just dehydrated. So when you have that pint of water, your body's like, oh, it's kind of like, for me, it clarifies things. And then veggies most, if I'm eating the majority volume-wise of my meal as veggies, I am always going to feel better. And I mean, another side note, I'm a blood type, an A blood type, and that's something that is prevalent for us extra, but I think it's still a great general rule. If you say, okay, well, eating a salad first, having the veggie soup first, something that kind of calibrates where you're at, it's a lot easier to make wise decisions and to feel good about them during and after, because we want to extend that joy, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you guys have any other nutrition questions when traveling, or any other issues that come up, feel free to drop them in the chat or just comment on this. We would love to like keep answering those, because it definitely is, it is tough, and it's like, it's a balance, you know, and there is a little preparation involved. And again, just thinking about like, how do you want to feel at your future self? Like, how do you want to feel on your vacations? You kind of want to feel lethargic and sluggish, you know, if you're kind of eating the fried processed foods the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. So kind of, just planning.
Yes.
And let's go to movement.
All right. So I'll show you some things. I'm going to go to the other room for that, but I'll just go over a couple of quick things first. I think step one for your movement is to give yourself a minimum. Give yourself, I'm going on a 5-day trip, and if I sit, like, they're actually going to be working us out because I'm going to that kind of trip, but should that not be the case, okay, well, let's say I typically work out most days. If I'm going on a 5-day trip, I'm going to say, okay, my minimum is I'm going to get a sweaty session 2 times, let's say. And then I'm going to prioritize walking when I can outside of that. Maybe depending on where you're going, maybe that's going to be inevitable anyways. You're going to have to walk more than you would typically at home. Always a cool thing, right? So we don't have to put too much thought into getting that positive benefit. But I think starting there is, okay, let's be realistic with myself. What is the bare minimum that I need to still feel like I'm on somewhat of my routine and to come back feeling excited about getting back to regular life instead of like dreading it because I ate all the BS and then I didn't move. So giving yourself that realistic standpoint, I think, is the number one. And then we've already talked a lot about like looking outside or researching ahead of time. Know what you have where you're going. If you're going to a hotel that has a little gym, cool. If you're going to a hotel that doesn't, all right, so we're going to have to plan ahead for that. Or there's, I think, Map My Run is what it's called. There's like apps where you can say, okay, I'm going to start at the hotel and I'm going to draw my finger and see if that makes a mile. And I'm going to do that mile loop a couple times. You can plan those things ahead, and then it adds the excitement and takes the anxiety away. So where I'm actually excited now to have my, 1 mile walk a couple times while I'm there. And then there's a lot of things that you can do with minimal equipment and minimal space. And excuse me, Raina, I know she has a reel to share of her with some loops in a hotel room. And that's actually what my favorite thing is for, I mean, I use them even when I have other equipment. I use loops, and it's because they maintain constant tension. So if you're doing an exercise, time under tension, tut is what we always say, that is going to increase your results. And if you're traveling, you likely are not trying to spend 90 minutes in the gym. You're probably like, okay, I'm going to, I mean, we're talking about summer traveling, so we're all going to conference, but other people might be going for a family vacation. So, or a family reunion rather. So they know they're going to be meeting with other people. They're not going to be able to do a midday hour-long workout because that's just not feasible with plans. So for me personally, my goal is to get as much in as little time. And in as little space and with as little preparation as possible, right? So the program I'm actually doing right now is called Job One, and it's perfect for this because it's only 20 minutes. Start to finish, 20 minutes. And she has quite a variety of exercises. It's a 5-day-a-week program for 3 weeks. And they almost all of them use loops, and some of them also use dumbbells. Now,
Can you
loops,
show the loop? Like what?
Oh, yeah. Girl, we'll just scoot over right there right now. Here, give me just a second.
Okay, cool. Love it. Yeah, I love, they're like resistant band loops, and you can ball them up. They're so tiny that you can fit them easily in your suitcase. And in our resources, I will be sharing the reel that I made of doing a hotel room workout with the little mini resistance bands. And then while Joelle's getting set up here, another thing I want to say is active sightseeing. So whatever that looks like, if you're walking more, if you're going swimming at the beach, if you're walking the beach, if you can walk to go get your groceries kind of thing. Okay, here she comes. All of that is like great ways to just get in movement. And I think movement should be fun, especially while you're on vacation. Like, I mean, that should be a general rule. But yeah, make it fun on your trip. And for me, I've noticed when traveling, I just always make walking like a baseline. If I can get a walk in that day, I feel accomplished, and I just feel like, okay, that was some movement. Yay. So yeah, do what you can and figure out what you want your baseline to look like.
Yes. And it should be definitely reminiscent or like or match what you're currently doing. If you're like, I don't work out right now, well then maybe 3 workouts in 5 days is not the ideal minimum. That doesn't make sense, right? All right. Loops. So I have this set. It came with 5 and a cutesy little mesh bag. It's just perfect for travel. It's asking to be traveled, okay? So I love these because they have different resistance, different thicknesses that result in different resistances. I'll say that 6 fast. And yeah, Raina has a beautiful reel that we're going to see, but I wanted to show you just a couple ways that we can utilize these in addition to the things that she did. So in job 1, maybe that's not the best place for it. Here, maybe we don't fall. Okay. So in job 1, she has us use loops and dumbbells. So if you go to a hotel that has dumbbells too, I feel like that's the most bang for your buck time-wise. For instance, we did underhand rows, so hands under, with the loop and dumbbells the other day. So bent over rows, and you have to pull out and pull back. So see how I have to pull tension here so that I don't smack myself with the dumbbells? So now I have constant tension on my whole back and arms, as well as the weight of having to pull that up and out. So that's just one example, but we did also pulling down one side at a time, holding one dumbbell. If you think that you can't get spanked in 20 minutes, this girl is here to set you straight. She crushes me. And I love it because it's so easy and it takes no space. I've recently moved a lot of stuff into my home gym, so there's just not the same amount of room that I usually have in there. And I've been working out in the living room because this program gives me that freedom, gives me the opportunity. And there's just so many things that you can do with them. Something that I'll stress from a training perspective is the opposition. That is going to be one of the ways that you can get the most tension in the least amount of time. So another one, sorry, I'm just not familiar with using my iPad for this, y'all. So I'm like, I don't know how much of my body you can see.
You're doing good. We can see you.
It's good? Okay. Another one that she had us do was with dumbbell in one hand and holding the loop. I got it on my foots here. Holding that loop with the other hand. So we were bent over and it was called piston rows. So we were going dumbbell here and then going back and forth.
Oh, I like that one.
So you're getting the constant tension on the loop side and then traditional weightlifting feel and tension on the other side. So 20 minutes for me is super easy to commit to. I'm like, all right, I can do 20 minutes. And then what I love about it is no matter what level you're at, you get a really good workout without being immobile the next day. I mean, so often when I did sessions in Alaska as a trainer and I did them in Colorado too, I only needed 30 minutes with a client. And I would always joke like I can spank anybody in 30. It's true. But having a 20-minute commitment, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you can push as hard as you can where you're at and then feel it the next day without being debilitated, without feeling like I'll work out again next week because that was way too much. So there's a lot of benefits here, but we'll share some samples. I think I have 2 different samples of this particular.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll share it in our follow-up notes, so resources so that you guys can see or try them out rather. The program Job 1, she did it a few years ago, I believe it was, and right now currently she's doing a reboot. And that's the one that I'm doing, so I have a couple samples for y'all. But that's something to think about is that opposition. If you have dumbbells to use, then use both. But even something like here, let's say I'm kneeling, but you could be standing too. I'm holding a loop here just to give it some security. And then you could go push out or push out here to get your arms moving. And Miss Rachel's coming in. So that right there, that opposition, I want you to think about pulling on this side just a hair while also extending and pushing on this side. That's way more bang for your buck, and we love the bang for the buck. What else should I go over some more examples right now, or do you want to show your reel, or what do you think?
I think just for time's sake, I think we should put those in the resources. And yeah, I think you did an awesome job just like demoing that. I would just add to, and I can put this in the resources, something else I've been using a lot, especially if you don't have equipment, is YouTube yoga. So yoga with Adrienne, yoga with Jessica, yoga with Cassandra. There are like so many amazing YouTube yogis out there. And if you're wanting like a little lower intensity, although you can find some really high intensity ones too. Boho Beautiful is one of them, and she travels all over the world. So she has like really cool settings to see while you're doing yoga. Yeah, so that's something else I would recommend too as a movement resource is just like honestly using the internet, like, you know, just throw it on your phone. Oh, and I think I've touched on this before. It's all coming to me now. The mind health is kicking in here.
Yes.
I have the 7-minute workout app, and this was brought to my attention by Hal Elrod, the guy who is the founder of the Miracle Morning, and he's on the road like 350 days out of the 365 a year. So I mean, he's like, okay, I just do my 7-minute workout in my hotel room, and I love that app. So that's something else that I use. It is a paid one, but I don't remember the amount, but you can pay for a year, and that is a great thing to just have on hand too. So yeah, I think there's a lot of options here for movement. Make it fun, make it quick, get the most bang for your buck with the resistance and the opposition, like Joelle was saying. You know, and get like your family involved too, and just be like, hey, like, can we just all do like a movement activity. Maybe some of us are going to walk. Maybe some of us are going to do yoga. Maybe some of us are going to do a quick like resistance workout with the bands. And then we
don't discredit those booties, or don't discredit those shorties either. Like,
yeah.
a 7-minute workout, I mean, we know that those can spank, but like, and is that going to replace your full regimen back home? Probably not, but it all adds up. And you know that once you're done with even something short and intense like that, your next feeling is almost always like, I'm a badass. Like, even if you are sucked at it, you're like, well, I did that, or it did me, but like the endorphins are real, and it doesn't take very long for you to earn those. So don't think like, well, I only have 15, 20 minutes to my, available to me right now. It's not worth moving. It is. It's definitely worth it. And you'll feel that for sure.
It is. Yeah. And especially too, when traveling in airports, if there's ever an opportunity to take the stairs rather than the escalator or even the elevator situation, if you don't have a ton of luggage that you're schlepping, I mean, that could be your resistance, honestly. Haul that thing up the stairs. Yeah. Or like walk laps around the airport. It always cracks me up. Like, and, not trying to be judgmental here, but I'm like, all right, I'm about to get on like a 5-6 hour flight and everyone is just sitting at the gate. And I'm like, you guys, we should be moving around before we like sit for the next 6 hours. Like, let's walk laps. Yes. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion.
I get on the plane first. I'm like, why are you guys fighting to go sit there?
Right. Yeah.
I'll be last. I'll get on last. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be doing another lap, going up and down the stairs. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So mindfulness. Let's touch on that real quick. We don't have a specific exercise for you guys today. I would again say like the app. So Calm, Headspace, Insight Timer. There's so many good recordings on there. You can do a couple minutes of that. Just practicing deep breathing and meditations, especially when you're traveling. I mean, it can be stressful. So these are great tools to have on hand when, things aren't going as planned, or you're waiting in line and you're like, oh my God, like, am I going to make it? That long security line, whatever. You'll make it. Just do some deep breathing, or get pre-check. That helps.
I got it this time.
What's that?
I got pre-check for the first time. I get to use it this week. I'm like, okay, let's see. Look at this. Yes, Denver has been notoriously bad for a lot of people, I'm hearing. So I was like, this is worth it for sure.
It totally is. Definitely love the pre-check. And then just other things that we've touched on, like how do you bring mindfulness while you're traveling? I would say, a big reason we travel, right, is like we want to escape, or what is the experience or the intention that we have on our trip, and maybe write that down ahead of time. Like, how are you wanting to feel on this trip? And then connect to that multiple times while you're on your trip. And mindfulness is amazing because it brings presence to the current moment, right? And I think for me, that's been a motivator when I'm traveling and I really like want to savor it more. I'm like, okay, like I'm going to start my day with a meditation, or, I'm going to wait in this food line, and like take some deep breaths and like take in my surroundings rather than like being on my phone. And that leads me to talk about disconnecting from technology too, is a huge way that you can bring more mindfulness and presence into your life. Allowing yourself to have space and allowing your mind to wander, and like, cultivating that curiosity and exploring and taking in the surroundings that you're in, because that's something, again, what we get when we're traveling. Like, we want to be able to take in a new place. We don't want to be like face down the whole time. So easy things to do. And I know, like, if you're in a new place and you're trying to follow maps, like you can screenshot things, or you can have like offline maps. That's something else I've used. And just kind of like that planning ahead, like getting your bearings ahead of time. I think that can help. Not always taking a ton of photos, or like if you take photos that you want to post on social media, like feel free to take them, but don't post them like while you're out and about. Wait until you're back at your hotel room or your accommodation, and then you can like you know, post everything. That way you can like be more in the moment. I think that's a huge
That's massive.
yeah. Anyways, okay, what else do you want to add to that?
I think that for me, this trip, like I said, naturally, I'm not a planner. So this is something that I've been very intentional with in like the last week leading up to my trip, is figuring out those nitty gritty things that just cause anxiety and distraction. So I already have found, okay, here's my hotel. I found 2 grocery stores that are, one's like 12-minute walk and one's 17-minute walk. I also like, and Google Maps is too easy for this, y'all. Like I just typed in grocery store near this and then it finds it for me. And then it even reminded me, because I forget, being from Alaska, I forget sometimes these options, even though we have them in Springs. They have the little, motorized scooters that you can pay for.
Yeah.
So in the same app, it was like, or, you could scooter there for like $9 or 9 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, okay, like, so to have those things, to already know, even though I've never been there, to already say, oh, I know that here's my hotel, and then down this way a little bit is going to be one of the grocery stores, for instance. Knowing kind of what in my immediate surroundings I want to see, because I won't be renting a car, stuff like that. Not only do we talked about it many times at this point, but like, does it extend the joy? But it also makes it so that once I get there, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I don't have any food. And for me, that is like a focal point. I like joke that food is security for me. Like, so to not know what I'm going to eat next is problematic to my brain, but to say, oh, I have these treats or these snacks and I have this plan of where I'm going to get my next meal, it makes me just like, woosah. So that kind of getting those things out of the way that do or could cause you that stress and distraction and lack of mindfulness, I think really does go a long way. And I'll definitely be circling back to tell you guys how this went for me in San Antonio, having had those preparations done. And I think too, like we did the mindful eating meditation last show, and I've gotten a lot of feedback about that, about people that watched the replay and loved it. And I think that that is such a big, easy thing to add for or for vacation traveling. I'm not saying that meditation in the morning isn't a great plan, but I think that it goes really far if, especially in a time that feels a little chaotic or a little loud, you can just be like, I'm going to connect to where this food came from. A couple of deep breaths. Like there's just something so magically grounding, and it almost seems too good to be true, just saying it out loud. Like you're saying, I don't need to meditate for hours before just to be present. Like, no, it can be a moment, a decision and a moment. And then you're like, wow, here I am. So yeah, I don't think I have anything too intense to add to that. Just the little bit of planning the stuff that's not so fun to plan.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, because it reduces the stress and anxiety that can come, kind of knowing what to expect in that way. But also when things go unexpected or not as planned, like you do have these tools where you can utilize them.
Yes.
And I think the last thing too, again, to just continue cultivating this on your trip, is if you're into taking a journal or just writing things down, any thoughts, feelings, like frustrations you have or big wins, whatever happens on your trip, whatever you want to write, things that you're grateful for that day. I love going back through like my journals when I've been traveling a lot and just seeing like, it brings like this whole new perspective and like, jogs my memory on like what happened, and I put myself back in that mindset. So I think that's really powerful too, is just writing down your experience. That's another way to practice mindfulness while you're traveling, and specifically a gratitude practice too, like, being grateful that you have the funds to travel, and grateful that like you arrived at your destination, and interacting with the locals there who prepare your meals.
Yes.
Having access to water, having access to good food, if you're staying at a hotel, I mean, having so much gratitude for those hotel staff, because like a lot of them are, not dealing with the nicest people sometimes. And so I think about that and I'm like, I want to be that that guest that they have that is like kind and
Yeah.
you know, so just little things like that. Like the gratitude can really build once your brain starts thinking of that.
Amen.
Yeah. And then, okay, so we're hitting the hour right now. So I want to respect everyone's time. But the last thing I just wanted to fire off, and Joelle, you can throw in yours too, is I just want to like, what are our travel must-haves while we are going? And I think we've touched on quite a few of them, but I'll just run through my list real quick. I would say essential oils. You know, peppermint oil is great just if you're getting a headache or if you need a little pick-me-up. I love that. Same with like some grapefruit. Eye mask is a non-negotiable for me. I bring that thing on the plane, and you know, when I'm sleeping in a new place, like it honestly helps me actually, like, I think it's a trigger for my body to be like, okay, it's time to sleep. So the eye mask is great, especially if you're doing overnight flights. And you know, everyone's got their lights and their videos on, and lots of blue light. So yeah, get the eye mask. The blend jet, I'll put this in the resources link. But that is an awesome little, Trish is like, I know she's got one of those. Yeah, that's an awesome little mini blender to bring. Reusable water bottle, bonus if it's like the Life Straw with the water filter on it. Okay, reusable utensils. So I always like to have on hand like a little to-go container, a reusable straw, and like a little reusable cup. So if you're going out to get coffee, it's something like this, but I have like a smaller one. That I like to bring while I'm out and about. And I partner with a sustainable travel kit, and I can get into that at another time. But yeah, it's so cool. Like, it's this woman-owned company in Canada, actually. Shout out to Trish in Canada. But yeah, she puts together like little bottles for your shampoo and lotions. She gives you a reusable like beach towel. Obviously it's reusable, but it's made out of recycled plastic bottles. And I love this beach towel. I always get compliments on it. It's beautiful. She also gives you, there's so many things. Oh, a little like day bag that you can have. Of course, the utensil set. Yeah. Anyways, so I love bringing that with me. I have a travel credit card that I use. It's the Capital One Venture X, and they have a ton of benefits. Like, all your points are like 4-5x every purchase you make, and it can go towards travel points. So buying plane tickets, renting a car, getting a hotel room, all of your purchases can go towards that. You can also get cash back. You get $300 in travel credit on that credit card. It's amazing. Big fan of it. And then a fitness tracker. So like whether it's a Whoop band or an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, yeah, you got your Whoop. Those are always nice to have, just so you can like track your steps if you're interested, or you know, kind of push yourself to like close your rings, for example, on the Apple. Or, you know, if you want to like detach from that and that's not your jam, then like leave it at home. But I noticed for me, it's helpful to like be tracking, because you know what you track grows, and it gives you a reference point of like what you're actually doing. Okay, go ahead, Joelle.
So I have to make sure that I link everything for our resources, because I don't have everything on me to show you, but I have this infinity travel pillow. It's literally like a giant ring, so you can double it up like an infinity scarf, and it will like just wrap around right here. But it's super, I like body pillows when I sleep at home, so it kind of is dual purpose for me. It'll be comfortable on the plane, but then I can like have that extra for my pillow when I get to the hotel. I'm also a recent eye mask user, and mad props. I already wrote that on my don't forget list, because I was like, that's a new thing for me, but I love it. And I do think it's kind of a response that my body's like, oh, mask is on, time for bed.
Yeah.
So of course, my layered powder container with all my things in it, and then a stainless steel shaker bottle with it. And then I like those. I'm the same way. When we first went to Mexico, I very quickly was like, not only was the plastic water bottle suck because it's plastic, but I'm like, that shit does not stay cold. It's like 3 minutes, and it's like warmer than room temperature easily. I'm like, this isn't it. So now I just bring those things with me, and it's habitual. And yeah, I have like ones that are my favorites for traveling, because they're smaller, more convenient, stuff like that. And then I have a purse that I call the Essentials purse. My friend actually made it. I'm gonna go grab it really quick. I must show it to you.
Okay, you must. Trish, I wanted to ask you, do you want to add anything? Because you're a big traveler. Rachel, I don't know if you travel much, but feel free to drop anything in the chat or unmute yourselves.
Okay. So I actually, Body has a purse that's similar size to this. It's kind of like long ways, right? And it's small in your body. See, it's pretty tiny. She made an adjustable strap for me. And here's my reasons why I love it for traveling. So flap off, there's a secret zipper component. So if you're like worried about people trying to pickpocket you or something, there's a secret spot. And then here there's the main pocket, and it looks small, but like I'm not gonna have my keys when I'm there, and my keys fit in the bottom. But also here, this pocket is perfect for my phone. Maybe there we go. And then here I have my chapstick fits in here, as well as this little. It's called Buffway. I bought this on Amazon recently, but it's like, it just holds a few cards on each side, and then it has a spot for cash too if you want. I love it because I only need I need my ID and a couple cards. And I don't need to take my whole everything when I go, especially for this type of trip. But yeah, it just fits right there, super easy with my chapstick. And I feel like it's, it doesn't take a lot of commitment. I don't know. I'm not really a purse girl, so that doesn't help. Like, it's hard for me to be like, I'm going to grab this bag now, even though I kind of like to have everything on me. So I like that it doesn't have a lot of commitment. I'm not going to feel like I'm lugging it around when I go from conference to conference, but it has everything I need. And I just feel like she needs that shout out because it's amazing. And it's waterproof canvas inside and out. So super easy to wash. Yes.
Does your friend make this? Is that right?
She did. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Shelly. You know Shelly.
Oh my gosh, Shelly. Healthy happy hour today, sponsored by Shelly.
Shelly, she's made me a couple bags, and the other one actually holds a water bottle. Like, it's a vertical and tall like this. They're amazing. So this is definitely. I will. And I bought it for this trip because I was like, no, I want that. I know all the other girls are gonna have our branded one, but mine's cooler. And it holds more stuff. And then lastly, Terrazyme is a doTERRA supplement that I love. It's got like digestible enzymes in it. And for me, like, my stomach's not super finicky, but like kind of, and I can handle cream and milk and butter, but like, it's just not the easiest. So if I take some of those, and I know that my stomach always kind of like mitigates better. So that's the only one that I'm like, for sure have to make sure I bring.
I love that. That reminds me, I have like some digestion enzymes as well.
Yes.
Gut health packets. I think, probiotics, prebiotics, digestive enzymes, those are great things to have with you when you're traveling for sure. How could I forget?
Yes.
A greens powder too, if you're not, if you're in a place where maybe the local cuisine doesn't have a lot of veg.
Yes.
I think having a greens powder is just something nice. Like,
I'm glad you said that. I forgot that I have Be Green, and so I'll add that to my layers because I don't have powdered peanut butter, but that'll be even better. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Oh my gosh. I feel like there's like flies around here. This was an amazing happy hour. I hope you guys got a ton of tips from it. Let us know in the comments if you are using any of these. And if you want to be added to our reminder list, our resource list, so you don't miss the healthy happy hours in the future, we have a form that we're dropping in the chat. It'll also be in the link in this replay video. And then, of course, if you're feeling called to support us, please share with your friends, your family, whoever you think would benefit from watching this. Also, we take some time to prep for these calls and these sessions. So if you feel like financially supporting us, that would be amazing for our time. We have our Venmos in there too, and we're so grateful for you. And thank you for just showing up and asking questions and being here. Joelle, do you want to add anything?
No, I think that was perfect. Oh, next time we are doing a group session in our next for for our next Healthy Happy Hour. So it's going to be kind of a group coaching session, and it's going to be about identifying self-sabotaging habits and tapping into your inner motivation. Our plan is July 7th. So we're going to be skipping 4th of July. That would be technically our next 2-week-ish time frame. But yeah, on July 11th, we're going to have that. So keep an eye out. We'll be having some polls going up on socials here soon to ask you what type of things get in the way of your motivation, and what do you think causes your self-sabotaging habits? Or maybe you don't know and you're just like, I don't know, but every time I get good, something happens. Like, we want to know those juicy details so that we can come up with the best content for what should be an amazing session. First group coaching session on the Healthy Happy Hour.
Yes. Ooh, thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Yeah. So we're going to be putting up polls for that. We want your input. We want to hear from you, because this session is really going to be catered to like what you need. So please engage and let us know.
Yay. All right, y'all. Healthy Happy Hour. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Rachel.
Yeah.